This is The Clash, where the real world clashes with a true Christian worldview. Join former professional wrestler Chris Whaley, known as the Masked Saint, who is an author, pastor, and teacher that brings his wrestling skills into the squared circle and tackles real-life issues. Along with Jeff Dixon, best-selling author, internationally known teacher, leader, and pastor who is not afraid to tackle the tough issues of the world we live in. Together they form a tag team of wisdom in The Clash.
Hi, welcome to The Clash, where we take a Christian worldview, allow it to clash into the culture around us, and when we're said and done, hopefully we say something that will educate, entertain, enlighten, and encourage you in your journey of faith. My name is Jeff Dixon, and I occupy this seat, but on my right, your left, the left side of your screen, is the one, the only, Saint himself, Chris Whaley. Hey, Chris.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
We're talking history right now. Because America's getting ready to celebrate a birthday, 250. Mm-hmm. We've done 2 previous episodes.
Right.
So this episode, believe it or not, is America 250, the episode after the other episode.
Part 3?
Right. So it's part 3 for us.
Right.
So we did the first episode, then we did the other episode. Now this is the episode after the other episode.
And we could do more.
We probably could, yeah.
Do a bunch.
Because we're just hitting highlights, events, people, things that hit our radar.
Right.
Of being great moments in history.
Right.
Talking about them a little bit,
yeah.
Maybe sharing a spiritual insight. And we're kind of jumping all over the planet because 250 years is a lot of history to cover.
A lot of history.
And, you know, I mean, we're amateur historians. We're not good at it, but we're amateur historians.
Amateur historians,
you know,
there we go.
As we begin the episode, before we go to a break, I want to remind you and remind our audience especially, you know, history is always written by the winners. Mm-hmm. So when you think of history, right, history is always written from the perspective of a winner.
Right.
Because that's who's doing the recording, right?
Right.
If you lose, you don't really write the history of that. We don't forget about it or you don't even survive. And so understand that even what we know in history is a part of the story. There's so much. It's so complex and it's so deep.
Right.
And we're just taking little brush strokes and just kind of knocking some events off.
But it's kind of neat to go down memory lane.
Sure.
Bring them up.
And stuff
and say,
that we've
heard. This was a part of Americana.
Yeah. And so this is kind of another Americana episode as we're getting closer to celebrating America 250. Mm-hmm. And we'll be back and kind of take a historical jaunt with you right after this message.
Jeff, do you remember the first Bible verse you memorized?
I do. I have sometimes trouble remembering the address of it, but it's John 11:35. Jesus wept. Now, when I was a kid, they were having a contest, and the goal was go home this week and come back and memorize the Bible verse. I'm a practical kid, right? I'm like, okay, what's the shortest verse I can find in the Bible? And sure enough, 2 words, Jesus wept. Fantastic, I'm on it. And so that was the first verse I ever memorized. And other people memorized John 3:16. I mean, you know, and they were doing great stuff. But you know, me, I just kept it simple. But I found out over time, though, that in those 2 words, I have discovered so much about Jesus and the way that he connects to us, the way he feels about us, the way he feels our pain, meets us at our point of need, his compassion and caring. It's really all wrapped up in those 2 words. And so for me, although it's silly, it's also the first verse I ever remember as a kid.
Hey, welcome back to The Clash. We're looking at great events in America's 250 years of history. And we haven't even scratched the surface, but we're going to keep going. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't want to hog all this. You go ahead. Why don't you start us off?
Okay, well, think back. We just kind of, this is kind of fresh on people's radar again. Mm-hmm. But think back to the 60s, mm-hmm. The Apollo 11 spacecraft mm-hmm. that leaves here, Central Florida, Kennedy Space Center, and goes to the moon. Mm-hmm. Did it happen or was it a hoax?
Oh, it happened.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. I didn't know we were going to roll it out. I mean, I was going to make sure before we start talking about it. Cause
my grandfather thought the moon landing was fake and professional wrestling was real. So,
I love it.
But no, I remember that Sunday night in July,
Yeah.
1969, buddy. After church. Yeah, we're in the living room watching.
Watching that black and white footage. Walter Cronkite.
Yep.
Who is another great American icon, I guess, in our history. Watching Neil Armstrong kind of come down that ladder.
Yeah.
I had an aunt that was convinced. I guess my aunt and uncle must have been visiting at the time, because I remember her having this conversation that she thought that when man stepped on the moon, that God was going to be so ticked off at us for stepping out of our lane that He's going to blow up the Earth.
Oh.
So as a kid, I'm excited about astronauts, loved astronauts, excited about the moon landing. At the same time, I'm thinking, well, what if she's right? So I'm watching him come down the aisle thinking, I'm about to die when he touches the moon surface.
Yeah, right.
So for me, I was not only excited about the moon landing, I was glad to be alive.
Right.
Because we didn't die.
And you think about technology and how much technology has changed, Jeff.
Yeah.
Because we have more technology in our cell phones than they had on the moon landing.
Yeah. Well,
And yet we still did it.
and history now, as it kind of unfolds and we learn more and more. I mean, their ability to put that lunar module down the way they did. I mean, that in some ways was a minor miracle, because they missed their original target. They were looking for an alternate target. Every alarm that they said was going off on the thing, and they couldn't get it reset. So every alarm is going off. So they've missed the landing target. They're trying to find another one, and it seems like this thing is disintegrating around them as they're trying to put this thing down on the moon. You got Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin standing in this beast, trying to make it work. I mean, and the funny thing is they're tracking their heart rates, and and to be under crisis, these guys are running like professional athletes. I mean, they didn't panic. Their heart rate didn't skew off the charts and go crazy. They were just as cool as they could, putting that thing down.
And if I'm not wrong, I think next year we're going to go back to the moon.
That's what we hear. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
That'll be exciting.
The moon exploration opens a lot of doors. And I think for some people it's controversial because of the money and stuff, but I also think the desire to explore, expand the technologies you develop and stuff. I think in the wake of an event like the moon landing space program, there's a lot of benefits that average Americans enjoy that probably don't realize it's a direct result of the space program. And so part of that funding research and that development money, whether you're a fan of that kind of spending or not, you reap the benefits of it. And again, people can have their opinions whether they like it or not, but still, we all enjoy the benefits. Yeah. And so it's kind of fun. But I was a big space fan, big fan.
Yeah.
The guy I didn't want to be, Michael Collins.
Who?
Michael Collins. He was the one that was piloting the orbiter around the moon when Aldrin and Armstrong were on the ground. Michael Collins.
We forgot all about that guy.
Yeah. So imagine him. He's out there that far from home, circling the moon. The two guys who are with you are now gone. What if something happened to them?
Yeah.
You're not by yourself in this Apollo spacecraft, and you're not sure you're going to get home anyway, right? I mean, that guy had to be the loneliest guy in the world for about a day and a half. Because, he's not going to be going nuts. We forget about him sometimes because he didn't go to the moon.
No.
Right? He just went around the moon. But,
I'd forgotten all about that.
Michael Collins. He was the pilot of the I guess the orbiter.
Right.
The spacecraft.
Well, here's one, and people our age are going to know this, but there's a lot of young people who are going, what? And that's something we call the Cold War. After World War II, we entered into a kind of that's the expression, a Cold War with the USSR, which isn't even the USSR anymore, but United Social Soviet Republic. But matter of fact, the journey to the moon, that was a part of that war.
Sure
they were ahead of us.
Space race.
Yeah, they were ahead of us.
Oh yeah, it's that classic battle, right? It's the American democracy,
right,
versus godless communism, right? It interesting era of American history,
Right.
and very fearful. I'm sure, again, I know history from the American side, but I have a feeling if you grew up in the Soviet Union, you were just as dogmatic about believing you were the best as Americans are about knowing we're the best. I think on both sides there was a great fear of the unknown of each other,
Right.
and definitely worldviews in conflict during that time.
Oh, yeah. And then, it even affected professional wrestling.
Oh, sure.
I think of Ivan and Nikita Koloff.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Richie Scruggs, who we've had on the show, and Nikita Koloff,
Yeah.
who we've had on the show. Richie Scruggs, his first match, big-time match, was against Ivan Koloff.
Of course, yeah.
And Ivan put him over because
Yeah.
it was, I think it was 4th of July match.
Yeah.
And you can't have a Russian winning on that day.
Well, and of course, the greatest Cold War finale is, Rocky Balboa and Ivan Drago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, come
Rocky
on.
Part
Everyone
4.
knows that, right? Yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
when Rocky goes to Russia on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
That's a big moment. Oh, maybe that wasn't history. That's just a movie, isn't it?
That's right. Just a movie.
Close.
Yeah.
But the spiritual implications of that, though, really are that, there really is a spiritual battle that's taking place, and it really is a battle between good and evil. And the ripple effect of that good and evil battle, though, it filters through populations of people. Through our educational systems, through every part of any culture. That battle really does draw some very clear, distinct lines of ways that you're going to approach life, what's best,
Right.
choices of how to live, what you believe about the future. All of that. And the Cold War was just an era where that really was very much defined by two nations. But, there's a lot of that good and evil battle that was being revealed at the time, which is really interesting time of history.
Yeah.
Scary time in some ways, too.
What's your next one?
Well, I'm going to jump to a person, if that's okay.
Yeah.
We talked about civil rights, and we kind of hit on that a couple episodes. The name Rosa Parks. Remember Miss Rosa Parks? Refused to give up her seat on a bus, and becomes a flashpoint, I guess, for lack of a better term, of an event called the Montgomery Bus Boycott, where basically, she decided to take her stand by having a seat,
Right.
and she wasn't going to move, and
Right.
became, such a point of the spear, if you will, for again the civil rights movement, restoring dignity and integrity that some were refused to give to an African American community. Huge guts.
Yeah.
To do that, because again, the cost of that, the potential for that,
Yeah.
was so high and so bad, and yet,
But she got a lot of people behind her.
Oh yeah, and again, so just a powerful moment, powerful figure
Right.
in American history, especially in the civil rights movement.
Right.
What else you got?
Well, I have this next one, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Our current president, I think there's been like 3 or 4 attempts on his life.
somebody shot outside the White House yesterday.
Yeah, last night.
Yeah.
There was another one. But Abraham Lincoln, man, what's not to like about that guy? I think he was awesome. I've done a lot of stuff on Abraham Lincoln, and I know he suffered from depression.
Sure.
And, he led our nation at one of the most, tumultuous times in our nation. And we came out okay on the other side. And I think his leadership and the Gettysburg Address, that's another one we could talk about. But when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, of course, we didn't have the media capabilities that we have today, but it spread through our nation. I imagine that was a pretty difficult time in our nation.
Sure.
When the president is
Now, as we look back over history, it's that great debate as we analyze history, right? As you've read stuff, as you've looked at stuff, did John Wilkes Booth really act alone I mean, or how extensive, even in the American cabinet, did that assassination of Lincoln go, do you think?
I think more so than we know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, it was crazy set of events when you start putting that together and looking at it and thinking, you've got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, hate drives you to do crazy things.
Terrible things.
And I think Lincoln's assassination. Yes.
Well, I think we probably don't have enough time to get into another one before we need to take a break.
Okay, we can take a break. Give everybody a chance to kind of, watch a commercial.
Sounds like the
fridge,
thing
get
to do.
something.
Let's take a break.
All right, let's take a break.
All right.
Chris, I was just thinking while we take a break here in the show.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could go somewhere and shop and get high quality merchandise that would have a lasting impact? Wouldn't that be good?
I think that would be absolutely awesome.
Well, I've got a suggestion for you, because what is your favorite saying?
Don't tap out.
Look at that. How about a Don't Tap
Holy
Out
smokes,
t-shirt? And
don't
look at the
tap
logo
out.
on the back.
What's on the back? The Clash.
The Clash. That's one of my favorite shows.
It's on my top list too.
And people could go and buy this from our store. Now you say, how do you get to the store? Well, right now there's a QR code on the screen. If they use that QR code, they can go and they can buy. Name something. We'll see if they can buy it there. What do we want? What to buy?
Probably. I want to get a long sleeve hoodie.
You know what? You can get a long sleeve hoodie there.
Really?
Yeah, and you know what else? If you had a baby tomorrow, you could get Clash baby gear at that same store. Yep, you can get that. All this available at the Clash store. So if you haven't been to the Clash store, you're one of the few people in America that hasn't been there yet.
Yeah.
And so check it out. Buy our stuff. It makes us money. It makes us happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to the Clash store. Hi, welcome back. We're taking a wild, woolly ride, quick ride to American history, as America 250 is getting ready to be celebrated here in America. And so we're covering historical events, or people, or things that have happened.
Yeah.
So I've got one for you I want to come back with.
Okay.
Really deals with an American president, but also just a larger-than-life personality. Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Teddy bear, right?
Yeah.
I think Roosevelt is one of those just intriguing American figures. Larger than life, bully, speak softly, carry a big stick, tough. Comes from that background of being a sickly kid, learns to fight.
Yeah.
Falls in love with America, goes on this, as president, goes on this crazy camping trip. That would never happen in a million years today with John Muir out and out in that great Yellowstone area. And for days they're out there, and he comes away committed to preserving this great American frontier,
Right.
and preserving it forever, and creates national parks, and just, what an amazing guy, and a shaper of culture that seemed to have his pulse in some ways similar to President Trump today. While President Trump is notorious for using social media and things like that, but Roosevelt in that era used newspapers to push forward his agenda, and had enough folks that were around him that were willing to cover stuff. He figured out, and was the first president to figure out, how to take the media and control the media to make sure you could deliver your message quicker and better. Pretty fascinating guy.
Yeah. Kevin Costner did an unbelievable, several episodes about Teddy Roosevelt and his accomplishments in that area. But you know what I think about when I think about Teddy Roosevelt? This is a tough dude. He's making a speech and gets shot.
Yeah.
And finishes the speech.
Shot in the chest. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you were preaching and you got shot, you think you could finish the message?
Depends on what point I was on. If I was on the last point trying to land the plane, probably so. If it was early on, I'd probably just go ahead and give it up and just lay down for a little bit. Say, okay, I'm done.
But he was the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, in some ways, a pivotal president, because prior to that, and again, history is interesting, right? But we know names of presidents. You know Washington. You probably know Adams. But then you kind of fast forward and you get lost. I mean, Abraham Lincoln's number 16. Most people can't name number 2 through 15.
Right.
And then we lose again. A lot of the presidents that come and go. And then all of a sudden, Roosevelt comes along, and all of a sudden, that's the name that people, they know him. I mean, that's the one they know, and he, so a larger than life character too, as a leader of America, which is also, maybe that's a more important characteristic than we give it credit for sometimes. Maybe you need somebody that's larger than life that doesn't disappear into the woodwork, because he did not.
Yeah, I think he was very Trumpish without all the hate towards him.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Different era. Yeah. Different era.
He was not afraid of making decisions. He was not afraid of leading the nation. But man, oh man, if he were here today, I think he'd be getting some of the same stuff that
some of the heat, right?
That Trump's getting.
Sure, I think so. Yeah. Right. So for me, he's always been one of those pivotal historical figures, especially as a U.S. president. That definitely. Turned the tide of America in the way that we viewed our natural resources.
Right.
And again, the spiritual implication of that is, we're God puts us in charge of here planet Earth, and we have to walk that fine line of taking care of the resource and not worshiping the resource. And I think we live in an era where some have swung to that far side where they almost worship the planet. To the point of not understanding that the planet is a gift for us from God to use and to manage wisely.
Right.
And I think they go to an extreme on that. And so I think there's a balance in there. And I think probably in some ways Roosevelt, with his love for our environment, probably helped set a healthy course that has been kind of hijacked sometimes.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
And that's, while that's sad, but it's important, and what he did mattered a lot.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
How about the Vietnam War?
Tough era, yes.
Yep, that's another one we've lived through. And boy, I just, you think of all the things that were going on then. You had the Jesus movement that was going on then too. But the Vietnam War was, all my memories about that are bad ones.
Yeah.
Friends that died because, I had friends, getting out of high school, going to Vietnam. And one of the first ones was a young man by the name of Jerry Green from Auburndale, Florida, who went to Vietnam, and he died over there. And boy, it rocked our little town. But it was definitely a very sad, how can we, as the greatest superpower on earth, not whip a country the size of Connecticut? How can that happen?
Well, there are historians and those who study the art of war that will say part of the reason is we don't have the stomach for it. We get into these battles without a desire to really win it.
Or an exit plan.
Yeah, we don't have an exit plan. And I think that still is holding true historically. I think we've seen that really, the lesson we probably should have learned in Vietnam, if you have to go to war, you need to figure out a plan to end that war and win. I'm sure some movie somewhere where someone has asked that great line, do we get to win this time? Because again, we ask a huge sacrifice from our military, their families. There's the treasure, there's the capital that is spent. It's just, if you're going to do it, I think it's a huge step. Yeah. And I think that there's the problem with that is, because it begs the question, how could we not, how could we as a nation not be able to win that war? And it's just hard. Those are hard moments of history. Yeah. To kind of relive, and you can't minimize it. And people have strong emotions on both sides and every side, and most families I know have been impacted by people who've lost loved ones. Right. In military service. Right. And that's brutal.
It is.
Very brutal. It really is. We'll give you a name coming out of that war then. Richard Nixon. You know, again, we've talked about a few U.S. presidents. A pivotal character in U.S. history. A lot of emotion on both sides of an aisle for him, love or hate, because most folks default to how he ended, which was
Watergate.
Watergate, yeah. Where the dirty tricks of politics, right? And just as a side note, his speech, "I'm not a crook," that was at Disney World. Yeah, so I mean, he used Disney World as his venue, to kind of sprinkle a little, fairy dust to see if he could get out of the, get back into good graces. But I mean, tough time. But again, he figured out how to extract us from that war, and that wasn't smooth either. Man, that was talk about another disaster. How you botch that up. And again, history. It's funny because now when we're filming this thing. Although history has a lot of that in perspective, I still think for Nixon, over the next 100 years, history is going to continue to be written and rewritten about him to where he actually stands. Because, these presidents don't know their status until long after they're gone. And even the era that they lay in, time will tell how they're remembered, which is kind of an interesting part of history, too.
Yeah, well, he was definitely... not looked on favorably, still isn't looked on favorably to this day, but there was something else about him. I mean, he was the one that kind of tore the wall down between us and China.
He did.
Yeah. He made that visit over to China, which was televised, and I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing,
I don't either. I remember the line from the great Star Trek film, Star Trek 6, where Spock looks at Kirk and goes, "Only Nixon could go to China." And so all of a sudden it becomes that moment of history shifts with that trip. Yeah. What else you have?
The first great awakening.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Whoa, we're getting spiritual now, right?
Yeah.
Well, tell our audience about that.
Well, it helped shape really the moral and the democratic thinking. It brought revival to our nation. Yeah. There's a good movie of it on it right now too, on the Great Spiritual Awakening. And ever since that time, Jeff, I've been praying for another one. Yeah. I'd like to see another one.
It's interesting because again, I think spiritual awakenings are moments, and I think they're unique moments in history. And of course, we got to get out of this episode here, but I think spiritual awakenings are those great moments in history, especially as you look at America, where God seems to send one. Mm-hmm. The awakening takes place, but the awakening takes place, draws people to Him, but on the historical timeline. The awakening takes place to prepare us for the next thing that's going to happen, which tends to be not so good. And so, because again, people always pray for revival, but the aftermath a lot of times of revival is you've got to go through some dark times. Mm-hmm. Because Christianity tends to be better when it's under pressure, and so the Great Awakening is a really interesting era of American history. Yeah. And again, I think it's a good thing to pray for because again, we want people to be close to God. We want them to know Jesus, right? And we want our audience to know Jesus because all of history is His story, right?
His story.
His story, and He writes it. He knows it. He controls it. And we get the opportunity to live out our lives and our stories in that bigger picture. Right. So it's been fun. Look at America 250.
Thank you for doing this.
No, it's been good. So hopefully, guys, you've enjoyed it. Getting you ready for the big 4th of July celebration that's coming up. Chris, what do we tell our folks before they leave?
Well, I hope you have compacted all of this knowledge that we've given to you and maybe come up with your own. Send us some emails about your favorite times in America 250, but whatever you do, don't tap out.